I'd like to welcome everyone to Little Rock City Hall. I'm Little Rock City Manager Bruce Moore, and I know it's very hot outside, but it's very cool and refreshing here in City Hall, and we're about to, in a little bit, hear some very cool and refreshing jazz music. So I want to, again, thank you all for being here. I want to recognize a few individuals before we get started. We're very appreciative of having Mrs. Porter here. She was here. Please stand. Thank you for being here. Mr. Sterling Ingram. Mr. Ingram, thank you for all your leadership. And two of the hardest working ladies that brought this idea to us a few years ago, Miss Alma Williams. Alma. And Miss Benita. Benita, stand up. Thank you for all your leadership. I also want to recognize one of our partners. I said a few years ago to Dr. Holmes, we won't have a viable city unless we have a viable public school system. I really believe we are well on our way in that direction. We have a lot of our school partners here, but I do want to recognize our school board president, Jody Carrero. Jody, thank you for being here. School board member, Greg Adams. Greg, thank you. And our illustrious superintendent of the Little Rock School District, Dr. Morris Holmes. Dr. Holmes. You know, we are very proud to be a part of the Art Porter Music Education 2012 Work of Art. We're especially proud to host Minors in Music, a part of the Foundation's Music Institute. The Institute enhances learning experiences from early childhood through high school. It provides opportunities for high school music students to mentor elementary school students. During this week, students will have an opportunity to perform with world-renowned artists. As most of you know, the Art Porter Music Education Foundation was established in 1993 to commemorate the life and legacy of two Arkansas treasures, Art Porter Sr. and Art Porter Jr., both extremely talented musicians. There should be a brochure in each of your chairs that tell you more about the legacy and the foundation. And I've always wanted to do this, and I was jealous of Pam when she would come on and do this. So now, for the first time, I get to say breaking news. Another group of very important people need to be introduced. So take it away, Pamela Smith.
Hello, I'm Pamela Smith. We're briefly interrupting programming to bring you this breaking news report. We have just learned that the second annual A Work of Art is off to a rousing success thanks to some very generous sponsors. And to give you a clearer picture of just who these sponsors are, who have collaborated to support the scholarship efforts of the Art Porter Music Education Incorporated Group, we direct your attention to the screen. AY Magazine, considered Arkansas's premier lifestyle publication. That's all about you. AY will celebrate its 25th anniversary this year. If you want the latest information on food, fashion, and entertainment, you can count on the 3R rule for AY: real, resourceful, and refreshing. A fourth R brings us to The Rock, the city of Little Rock, a dynamic state capital and the governmental, legal, commercial, and cultural center of the state, home to the William Jefferson Clinton Presidential Center and an energetic and bustling river market district, to name a few. The city is quickly earning the reputation of being a destination of distinction. Little Rock will always hold a special place for APME. It is from this city that the careers of both Art Porter Sr. and Art Porter Jr. were launched. And every great music artist needs a venue, and this venue's most famous deck overlooks the Arkansas River. Cajun's Wharf, home to Art Porter Sr. and Art Porter Jr. for more than 10 years. Known for its fresh seafood and fun atmosphere, Cajun's Wharf has been recognized as one of the premier spots for fine dining and live entertainment. Does anyone know the name of their signature drink? The Play-Doh. Don't leave without one. You could also find the Porters at the Afterthought, where music reigns, a cozy hotspot located in Hillcrest, where all musicians gather and perform to a most appreciative crowd. Every genre of music can be heard at the Afterthought while enjoying great appetizers. Do yourself a huge favor and order the delectable crab cakes. Now, one of Little Rock's newest hotspots is Club Sway. Posh and swanky, this is the place to go to get your dance on or have your next private event at Sway. Centrally located in downtown Little Rock, let this elegantly designed space speak to the sophistication in you. Make a statement at your next Sway event. And where do you go for information and entertainment? The legendary soul radio station KOKY, celebrating 56 years. Broadway Joe Booker, a legend himself, heads up the team of jocks under the Cumulus Station umbrella who consistently land in the upper tier of top-performing local radio stations. Still a leading man during morning drive, Joe is joined by a consummate team of professionals dedicated to keeping Central Arkansans entertained and informed. But Joe's team's not the only one with the power. Just ask the crew at Entergy, where one of their community initiatives is the Power to Care. Entergy has a long history of supporting and reinvesting in communities where its employees work and live. Entergy Arkansas provides electricity to nearly 700,000 customers in 63 counties in Arkansas. So, as you can see, an exciting collaboration of sponsors. Thank you, AY, the City of Little Rock, Cajuns, KOKY, Power 92, Praise, and Entergy for helping APME make a difference in the community and in the lives of deserving students. I'm Pamela Smith reporting. We now return you to regularly scheduled concert programming.
Good afternoon once again. I am two places at the same time. How can that be? Only by way of television. Thank you again for your support and your attendance here today. It is my pleasure to also acknowledge one of our other board members who has arrived, Diane Curry. Would you please welcome her by way of applause? I'm here to share a story with you now that is not only inspirational, but really speaks to the reason why we are all gathered here today. Investing in the life and the future of our children, particularly one child in this case. When then 7-year-old Karson Bone heard the orchestra perform at Jefferson Elementary School, that's where he attends, they visited this past spring, it was actually his first exposure to many of the instruments he heard. But for some reason, he was immediately drawn to the violin. Now, he gravitated to what was a laminated version of the violin that the orchestra had actually brought to campus. Even though his family could not afford it, he would later tell one of his teachers, Amber Matthews, that he was going to one day own a violin. And he also went on to say that he would one day be famous. And I would dare say, Karson, you are well on your way. Miss Matthews relayed that story to Counselor Melissa Brown, who in turn approached APME about Lexington Porter, who is a phenomenal violinist and also Porter heir. They wanted Lexington to come to the campus and pay Karson a personal visit. APME went a step further and provided a violin to Karson. And local music teacher Lorenzo Smith offered him free lessons. And here's where the story gets even better about people answering the call. His Jefferson Elementary teachers rallied around this young, aspiring violinist. And when Miss Matthews can't drive him to his weekly music lessons, tutor Debbie Coates also volunteers as the backup driver. And guess what? That continued over the summer. So you can see that there is an army of support and what you call true dedication. We would like to acknowledge Amber Matthews, Melissa Brown, and Debbie Coates. Would you please come forward at this time? We'd like to give you this small token of appreciation on behalf of APME and, of course, Karson, and say thank you for helping fulfill the mission of APME by exposing children to educational opportunities through music. Would any of you care to have words? Would you like to say anything?
Karson's teacher, this reminds me of the importance, or through working with Miss Debbie, she's the one that really brought it to my attention of his love of violin, and it reminds me to really listen to our students, their passions. We have a lot of stuff we're trying to stuff into a short school day, and it's a challenge to find time to really listen to them, and I think it's really important. So I'll work hard this upcoming year to listen to my kids, and I really enjoy taking Karson to lessons, and I've gained a lot from watching him, working with Mr. Smith. It's wonderful. So.
Now, if that story doesn't pull your heartstrings, I don't know what will. On behalf of APME and my role as Communications Director with the Little Rock School District, we are proud to have you as members of our team. Thank you so much for all you do on behalf of the students. Now it is my pleasure to introduce local music instructor Lorenzo Smith. Please welcome him.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to still be able to teach music. I have a personal testimony that would take too long to explain right now. But it's been a joy getting to know Karson. And I want to emphasize today, it's not just about the violin playing. It's about the other things that go along with it. Being a better reader, understanding math better. Many times we just think about the flute, or the violin, or the trumpet, or the saxophone, but it's much deeper than that. I'm a testimony of that. And as I stated, it would take too long, but that's why I have such a passion about this. And when I saw Karson, I couldn't help but say, yeah, give me a chance to work with that young man. Because I counted a blessing to be able to teach music. I don't take it for granted. There's a story that some of you may not know. Most of you have heard of Einstein, but I wonder if you know the rest of the story. Einstein's teachers suggested to his parents that they take him out of school and let him go to some type of trade. And I'm going to use this word because it's in the history. They said he was stupid. His mother did not agree and bought him, guess what? A violin. That's how you know the Einstein that you know. Many of his formulas came from improvisation in music. Don't raise your hand, but how many of you knew that? So maybe you learned a little something about music. The mother, in this case, recognized that no, it's something there. We just need to know how to tap into it. And that's the same thing that I'm observing with Karson. Now, it goes beyond Karson. What about all those other students that are in those classrooms that we say are slow? They just learn differently. I'm one of them. That's how I can say that. They learn differently. You may have in your classroom a genius. Einstein was a what? Okay, that's my point. Almost missed out, but the mother said no. Now it could have been a violin or flute, any instrument, piano, Music goes beyond just the surface that we see or hear, and we enjoy it. I'm looking forward to hearing the musicians play, but it's much more than just hearing them play. Many other things go on when we study music. A little short example. When we do music, we may end up doing 3, 4, 5 things at once. We don't necessarily have to tell the student that. We just teach them what? Music. But when you do that, all of these other things have to happen. You have to look at the music, recognize the note, know where to place your finger on the instrument, know how many counts to give it. Get my point? So when we teach music, it's much deeper than what we normally just see on the surface. Don't forget that story about Einstein. And perhaps one day, I'll be able to tell you my story. Karson and his entourage will perform for you now. Lexington and Ryan.
At this time, it is my pleasure to, I need to say thank you also to Lex Porter for mentoring Karson, as well as Ryan Pendergrass for accompanying him this morning or this afternoon. And of course, now you have a better appreciation of the APME mission. Please welcome now our next group of young musicians who are dedicating their performance to our teachers today. You didn't know that, did you? Ryan Pendergrass, a junior at Central High School, violinist extraordinaire. He's actually been playing since the age of 10 or 11 and plans to major in music in college. And he's been to all region 4 times. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ryan Pendergrass. Julia Buckingham, 1997 APME scholarship recipient. Scholarship recipient. That's what this is all about. She also serves as a scholarship consultant for APME, and she has followed her musical dreams, teaching private lessons, and she has perfect pitch. He's a 5-year all-region trumpet player, jazz all-region pianist. He attends Parkview, and he has been playing since he was 5 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Fletcher. And Lexington Porter, contemporary and jazz violinist, grandson and nephew of Art Porter Sr. and Art Porter Jr. respectively. He is continuing the legacy. He's actually been playing since 3rd grade when his teacher, Mary Z's of Martin Luther King Elementary, also of the LRSD, this is just awesome, first introduced him to the violin, and as you just saw, Lexington is giving back by mentoring many younger students, including Karson. Ladies and gentlemen, Lexington Porter. He's been playing bass for 10 years. He has been first chair in the All-State Orchestra twice and the jazz band. He recently performed with world-renowned trumpeter John Faddis with the Central High Jazz Band. Ladies and gentlemen, Caleb Green. Ricky Stewart is a 9th grader at North Little Rock High. He's been playing drums since he was 2 years old in a band called SIM. That stands for Serious Young Musicians. Ladies and gentlemen, Ricky Stewart. And last but certainly not least, Cameron Matson, who is a senior at Little Rock Central High, who picked up the saxophone in 5th grade and has been playing ever since. Although he is also a soccer enthusiast, his love, or first love, is the saxophone. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to please put your hands together for this all-star lineup. Cameron Matson and the rest of the crew, take it away.